Our next speaker is a man who you all know very well. He has never been shy about sticking up for his conservative principles and challenging the liberals in Washington, D.C. when their policies run afoul of the Constitution. Rick Perry has devoted his adult life to creating a more prosperous Texas. As the Lone Star's 47th governor, he worked to implement a clear vision for better schools, more jobs, safer communities, and a brighter future for all Texans. Thanks to his adherence to tough fiscal discipline, Governor Perry helped shape a job creation environment unlike any other state in the country. With low taxes and less government spending, predictable regulations, a fair legal system, and increasingly accountable schools, Governor Perry's Texas knows the formula for unmatched job creation, and other states have taken notice. Rick Perry enacted meaningful tort reform while in Austin, making sure that frivolous lawsuits and greedy trial lawyers don't harm good business people. These reforms have helped keep the free market free in Texas, allowing businesses to hire more workers while bringing a wave of new doctors to Texas. As an officer in the United States Air Force, he saw firsthand the importance of American military might and learned that peace through strength was what kept the world safe. Prior to being elected lieutenant governor in 1998, he served 2 terms as the Texas Agriculture Commissioner and 3 terms in the Texas House of Representatives. He is the longest-serving governor of Texas, a 5th-generation Texan, son of tenant farmers, and learned the values of hard work and perseverance in the rolling plains of West Texas. Please give a Texas-sized welcome to Governor Rick Perry.
Travel along with us one day here and the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn.
Oh yeah. David, thank you. It's good to be in South Carolina. Texans are kind of fond of South Carolina. Y'all sent us a little help back through the years in Texas. There were a couple of heroes at the Alamo that you all loaned us for a while, and we appreciate that. One, James Butler Bonham, and the commander of the Alamo, William Barrett Travis. Thank you. You know, I come to South Carolina because we're still looking for a few good patriots in this country. Once again, to fight for this country, we've come to look for patriots. See, we've watched our country descend into record debt. We've experienced 6 years of the slowest economic growth in the recovery that we've ever seen. A recovery of record proportion needs to be on the table for us. We've seen this IRS target our citizens. The architects of Obamacare, they admit they lied to sell us a bill of goods. You think about the bureaucrats at the Veterans Administration, leaving our veterans waiting in line for care, some of them who died. I want to take a moment. Every one of you who wore the uniform of the country, those of you who have family members that have worn the uniform of our country, I want you to hold your hand up just a moment so we can say thank you for your service, thank you for your sacrifice. God bless you for what you've done. You see, we watched our president. We watched him end a war. without a plan to keep the peace. We've watched him issue tough words without action to back it up. He's refused to admit even the nature of our enemy, let alone create a plan to defeat them. We've seen this gross incompetence, this naive ideological ignorance. And we're here to declare that we're not going to take it anymore. America can do better. And when we elect a Republican president in 2016, America will do better. See, we need to return to common sense in America. It's really pretty simple. I grew up in a place where there was an abundance of common sense. It was a place called Paint Creek. It was 16 miles from the closest place that had a post office. My mom and dad grew up growing dryland cotton on a tenant farm. Matter of fact, my mom sewed my clothes for me all the way till I got up through college. Washed us in a number 2 wash tub till we got that indoor plumbing. Paint Creek was a really interesting place. It was out on Farm to Market Road 618. There were 2 churches in Paint Creek, a Methodist church and a Baptist church. Your choice. I went to Paint Creek Rural School, and I'm very proud to share with you all that I graduated in the top 10 in my high school graduating class. And then there'll all be somebody ask, how many were in there, and I got to admit there were only 13. But we didn't have a lot of money. We never thought we were poor, though. Because the fact is, we were rich. We were very rich in values. We were taught the value of hard work, the importance of family. I was taught it was my duty to protect freedom for the next generation. And that is the principles and the values that directed me to volunteer and to be commissioned as an officer in the United States Air Force. And I flew these extraordinary pieces of fabulous equipment called a C-130 all around the globe as a tactical airlifter, to South America, to Asia, to Europe. I spent time in Saudi Arabia, in Bahrain, in Turkey. And it was then that I developed this profound love and appreciation for the freedom that we enjoy as Americans. You see, as Republicans, we know human liberty is the gift of God. And it's the guarantee of our Constitution. We don't believe the Constitution is a cafeteria plan where you kind of get to pick and choose the rights that you like and discard the ones inconvenient to your political agenda. See, every word. Every word in that Bill of Rights is sacred. And that includes the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and my kind of personal favorite, the 10th Amendment. I do not believe we need more Washington in our lives. We need less. We need to return power to the states and freedom to the people. You see, I think there are 2 types of thinking in American politics today. You got this delusional thinking of the left. It's pretty much epitomized by our president, where criminals obey the gun laws, where state sponsors of terrorism will put down their arms to obey a nuclear agreement, where radical groups like ISIS are not religious in nature, Now, the rest of us, we subscribe to what I refer to as reality-based thinking, where terrorist armies must be defeated by strength, not words, where radical nations should not be appeased, they got to be opposed, where the best defense against crime is an armed citizen. Amen. See, I think it's time to tell the American people the truth. The Obama administration is isolating our allies. It's emboldening our enemies. And the agreement with Iran doesn't limit Iranian nuclear ambitions, it legitimizes it. The great lesson in history is that strength and resolve bring peace and order, and that weakness and vacillation, they just invite chaos and conflict. You see, for the last 75 years, there's been this bipartisan consensus that America must project its values and its power. We must engage our allies and our competitors, and we need to confront our adversaries. We cannot take for granted American power and American influence. The great issue of our time is this: it's a battle between the Western values of freedom and this totalitarian worldview of Islamic fanatics. We are in the early years of this long struggle with violent Islamic extremists, and it's going to last for a long time. And we must display the same resolve with them to defeat them that we did with the Soviet Union. We've also got to recognize that homeland security starts with border security. America has the right to defend its borders. I told the president last summer, if you won't secure the border, Texas will. And that's when I deployed the Texas National Guard to the border to stop the gun running, the drug trafficking by these drug cartels and these transnational gangs. And you knew this, I knew this, the strategy would work, and it did. Border apprehensions declined by 74%. And it's time for Washington to do its job, secure the border. Thank you. It's time for them to do their job. Deploy the resources needed to secure our border. It's time for them to do their job to rebuild our military, to reassert American power abroad. And to do that, we need to have economic growth at home. The fact is, we cannot accept 1 in American workers that are unemployed or underemployed or just have given up working at all. We can't accept 1 in 5 of our children in this country. They're living on food stamps. It's time to revive the American economy. It's time to cut the corporate taxes to bring the jobs back home that we drove overseas by overtaxation. It's time to stop the overregulation of our small businesses. It's time to bring prosperity to Main Street, not just Wall Street. You know, there's just something wrong when the Dow Jones is near record highs and businesses on Main Street can't even get a loan. That's just not right. I served on a small community bank board back in my hometown of Haskell. And that perspective really gives me a worldview. And it causes me to ask this question. It said, since when did capitalism involve the elimination of moral hazard for the biggest banks while regulations strangle our community banks? I think we're just a few good decisions away, and I might add a leadership change at the top, from reviving our economy all across this great country. And I know it can be done. I know it can be done because we've done it in Texas. During my 14 years as governor, we created nearly a third of all the new jobs in this country. In the last 7 years. In the last 7 years. From the end of 2007 through 2014, Texas created 1.5 million new jobs. Minus those jobs created in my home state, this country lost 400,000 jobs. And it's pretty simple how we did it. We prioritized education. As a matter of fact, now Texas has the second highest high school graduation rates in the country. You want to tell a kid, you want to send a message to a family about how the best way to give their children an opportunity is graduating from high school. And the formula that we put into place, as I said, it's really simple. You keep taxes and spending low, you implement smart regulations, you provide an educated workforce, and you stop frivolous lawsuits at the courthouse. That's how you do it. And it'll work anywhere, anywhere. We can do the same for America once we have the leadership in the White House again. I believe this with all my heart. My friends, the issue of our time is not overregulation and the slowest economic recovery on history. It's not our failed foreign policy. It's not even the hollowing out of our military or our porous border. The greatest issue is the lack of leadership to deal with these crises. "2016 will not be an election about lofty rhetoric, but a record of leadership. It'll not be one of those, well, I will suggest to you, it will be one of those show me, don't tell me elections, where voters are going to look past what you say to what you've done. They want a leader with firm resolve, a leader who says what he means and means what he says. And I happen to believe that America's best days are in front of us. I believe, as I said earlier, we're just a few good decisions away from reviving our economy, from rebuilding our military, from restoring our place in the world. There is nothing wrong with America today that cannot be fixed with new leadership. See, when Americans, even historians, look back at this era, I hope they will remark that a group of patriots rose up to meet the challenges of our time, that we didn't flinch in the face of the threats to freedom, and we let the American people dream again by putting them back to work again, that we stood on the bedrock of our constitutional principles, and we protected the liberty and guaranteed every American's. That, my friends, is what our challenge is. That is our goal. Let's let America be America again. God bless you. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Life's like a road that you travel along. There's one day here and the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn.